indigenous industries. The people of the Gambia had the resources and the technology to produce the goods and services that they required before the coming of the Europeans. And in fact, there was division of labor and specialization which went hand in hand with the social system. All the ethnic groups in the Gambia, they had special people that engaged in the production of goods and services that they all required. So among the major industries in the Gambia, it includes the salt industries, the mining industries, the carving, tie and dye industries, the pottery industries, the iron or the leather industries. So these are some of the indigenous industries that were in the Gambia before the coming of the Europeans. And not only in the Gambia, in fact, Africa at large. Before the European came now, the African people could have, were able to feed themselves. Some of them were engaged in what they call tie and dye productions. Some of them were engaged in what they call leather production. They'll go to inside the bush, they kill animals, slaughter the animal, remove the skin from it, nail the skin on the ground. When the skin is dry now, they put it into different pieces. Those pieces now are used to make what they call belt. Then you have the caps, you have the jacket for storing waters, knives and sword. So you could see the African people were very, very strong at that time. We are having thick forests. The indigenous people or the local people will go inside the forest, they cut down trees of their choice. They use knives, they use cutlasses. They set the trees into different objects. Those objects were used, or those trees were used to make what they call mortars and pestles. They use mortars and pestles to pound grain. They can also use to make, writing of Arabic, scriptures, like the flat and the slat boards. Those trees also were used for making animal images of dignitaries and important people. So those trees also were used for what they call household roofing. So the African people were living large, enjoying the climatic condition here in Africa before the coming of the Europeans. But when the Europeans came, they colonized our countries, they took our ancestors, they stripped us naked. They took everything that belonged to the African people. So now, we are discussing the salt industry. The salt was among the major industries that were in existence in almost all the countries in Africa, including that of the Gambia. There are three places where the salt are obtained here in the Gambia. We have the Dar es Salaam, the Bintang, the Albradas. These are all places here in the Gambia where salt are obtained by our local people. There are two main types of salt obtained in the Gambia. There are the sea salt and the mine salt. And also there are two methods of obtaining the sea salt. Sea salt is obtained in two ways. One of the ways is by going to the river bank using a bucket or a container. Fetch the salty water, bring the water back home. Now remove all the unwanted materials from the water. Put the water in a container and heat the water. As the water get boils, it evaporates into the atmosphere, leaving the salt crystals in the container. It's a method in which our local people now use to obtain salt that is called the evaporation method. Some people will call it as evaporation method, while some people will call it as the boiling method. Simple techniques is required. Go to the river bank, fetch the salty water. Remove all the unwanted materials or the dirty part or particles. Put the water inside a container and heat the water with the container. So when the water boils at some degrees, the water will evaporate into the atmosphere, leaving the salt crystal inside the container. Then our local people now will obtain the salt. And this salt were used during the trans-Saharan trade. They exchange with Arab or the North African people. This salt also were used for cooking now because it adds flavor in our food. The same salt here is used to provide income for the local people. It provides revenue for the government when it is exported. So there is also another method used in salt production that is called the mining method. So this method it requires using the spade. Use tools such as the spade and the sieve. And in this method, you go to the river bank. So in this river bank now, our local people will go. They will use spade and dig down on the ground. When they dig down on the ground along the river bank, then they will obtain a big stone known as the salt rocks. These rocks are breaking down into smaller particles, and then a sieve is used, locally called tame. It's used to separate the salt from the sand, and then the salt now is put inside a container. And the same salt also serves as the same purpose as the mine salt. They serve as the same function. They are clear and white. They are very sweet because when you add it in our food, it gives you flavor. You could even use this salt for exchange trans-Saharan trade. Use this salt to cure wound and injury. Use this salt to cure what? Animals when they are sick. Use this salt for what? What you call dowries. At that time, there was nothing like money. Money wasn't available during the pre-colonial government society. Now this salt were used as dowry by our local people. So salt serves as a very important source of income for the average Gambians. So in this country here, the local people at that time, even right now, they produce salt at a higher capacity. That's why people can have salt at a cheaper price. People can have salt at a cheaper price. Now the economic and the social importance of salt, I'm emphasizing, or I'm coming to emphasize. So one, salt was used as a dowry, bride price. And two, it also served as a source of employment because some of those people who are engaged in salt industry, They employ themselves, source of employment. Salt also is used to provide revenue for the government. When the government exports salt into other countries, it could be used as source of revenue. It is used to cure injuries when you are wound in your leg. Go into the river now, put your leg inside the water, then you can obtain, your injury can be cured very fast. When an animal is sick, they mix the salt with the water, give it to the animal, and the animal will keep on using it and get cured. Salt is also used to apply in the water when they are saving the head of a baby in the traditional Gambian society. And even now, people are using that as salt. People also use salt to sprinkle it in their house to drive away evil spirit. Our local people, they believe that salt can be used to drive away what? Evil spirit. They put the salt inside the ground or they throw it in our houses to drive away or to take away evil spirit in our compound. So salt is very, very important. People also use salt for charity. So this is about the salt industries, and this is Historic TV, giving you live fascinating and interesting topic about our pre-colonial Gambian industry, which include salt industry. Still now on the topic called Indigenous industries. As I mentioned earlier, these are industries available here in this country before the coming of the European times. So right now we are going to give you a gist about the carving industries. Before the European came down to the Senegambian region or to the Africa at large, Africans were having thick forests where the African people could easily go and then cut trees and use these trees for different purposes before the coming of the European. That's why in Africa here, trees were many. Even right now, other Europeans are coming having access to our indigenous trees. So I'm coming to give you a flavor, or I'm coming to give you what they call the carving industries. Before the coming of the Europeans, wood were in abundance here in Africa and including the Gambia. So it became very easy for African people to have access to wood. Technology also required was very, very simple. They are required to have, or they normally use axe. They use cutlasses and knives. Go into the forest, fell down trees of their choice, cut the trees into different pieces, and save the trees into different objects. They use what they call, sapping tools to save the trees into different objects, and the object that they made out of these trees, it includes canoes. That's why today you can see our local women now, they can use canoes to sail from one part of the region to another to find oysters. They use canoes to sail, to transport their goods from one community to another. These canoes are made out of trees or local trees here in the country. Then they can also make tools such as mortars and pestles. These mortars and pestles are used for grinding and pounding grains. Today people, they'll make mortars and pestles and go and sell it to other people in order to earn a living. So you can see the African people, or Africa is blessed with too much of trees. Trees serve as a source of employment to the African people, because when you go down to the forest, you cut down trees, save the trees and make a statues. Beautiful one, you can sell it to the craft market to tourists. But now all these industries now are fading away because our people, they refuse to engage in what they call carving industry. So in carving industry, it's very, very simple. Go down to the forest, fell down of trees of their choice. This is what our ancestors were doing. They'll go down, choose a tree, fell the tree down. Use cutlass, use knife to carve the trees into different objects, and they'll make base of a drum. Most of the drum that you are seeing today now, they are made out of carving. The wood carvers will go and fell a trees that can be used for drum. They save it very nice. Make it art, make it drum. They later use the skin of animal, put it inside the surface or on the surface of a drum. Then the tool also, or the material also that can be made out of carving industry, it includes statues. You see statues, beautiful one. The one that they sell normally in our craft market are all been made out of wood. The woods are available here in Africa and including in the Gambia. They can also use this wood for roofing. Today almost every compound is having a roof. And all these roofs are trees originated from our forests, our African forests, and including our Gambian forests. So Africa is blessed with too much of natural resources, including trees and salt. Then the material also, or the tools that can be made, or materials that can be made out of our carving, it also includes image of dignitaries, important people. For example, in your community, you have a king, or there was a king who lived and died. People don't want to forget about the king. They can go and fell down trees, save the trees into the image of that exact king. So that when people see the king or the trees, they can be remembering the object, they can remember the king. Most of our compound in our houses, they are beautiful, crafted images. They are all made out of carving. The trees are available. We have the manpower and the resources. Let's go back to carving industry, ladies and gentlemen. We can able to develop our country out of carving. We cut down these trees, we export the trees to other countries. We can able to employ our youth carving. Now, the importance or the significance of carving in the pre-colonial Gambian society. What are the reasons why carving was important and carving was a very powerful sector? So carving provides employment to people who engage in carving industry. There are many people at that time, when they go down to the forest, they fell trees. These trees are made into different objects. It provides employment for them. Source of self-employment, carving. And two, it also makes what? Important images. Images such as image of important people, our ancient kings and chiefs. We can carve image so that people can be remembering several times. We can also make mortars and pestles for pounding and grinding grains. Now, the wood also can provide revenue for the government when it is exported to other European countries. Now, when you look at the four corners of the country in the Senegal region, there are different types of trees, ranging from the malana trees. We also have the mahogany, the mango trees, the oranges trees, the lime trees. There are many abundant trees here in Africa, and including the Gambia. Each and every compound that you go, you must find a tree there. And these trees could also be used as charcoals. We fell the trees now, we use it as charcoal, for firewood, for cooking. So Africa is blessed with too much of natural resources. All right, so far so good. This is just only 2 indigenous industries that we have discussed so far. There are more and many more to come in the life of the iron industries. We also have the weaving industries, the pottery industries, the tie and dye industries, the goldsmithings, and of course the blacksmithings. There are many more industries to come. So don't forget to subscribe, and then of course click that button, subscription button, to subscribe, and of course share your comment with Historic TV. A young Historic TV that is trying to educate most of the people around the globe about the beauty of history, and of course the history that the Gambia had at that time. So this is Historic TV. You want to learn more about indigenous industries, please stay tuned whilst you keep on subscribing, keep on sharing your beautiful comment, keep on also watching our videos. Inshallah, we'll give you more and many more that you want. This is just a flavor, it's just a tip about it, it's just a glimpse about the indigenous industry here in the country.